Well, hello folks. Murray coming to you from Ol'Red's Garage. I'm going to do a comprehensive review of all of the things that we've done to Ol'Red since I picked him up back in, I guess it was March of 2026. This was an advertisement photo from years ago, 1967. This is what they would have looked like when they came out. So I actually own one of these 67 F100s painted Rangoon red, just like you see there in the advertisement. Had that truck in 1985. My wife and I got married, that's all I had, and really enjoyed that truck a lot. That truck is long gone now, but now I'm looking for another one, 40 years later. I am in San Angelo, Texas right now, test driving Ol'Red. Yeah, good looking truck. Yeah, so I actually bought that truck that day and put it on a transport the following day and sent it over to Arizona. So now this truck lives in Arizona, Casa Grande to be exact. I'm really happy with it. There are some things I want to do to it and do with it, but overall I'm very happy with the truck. It shows well. It's what I've been looking for, short bed, 67 model, Rangoon red, all of the things that I was looking for. Cruises down the highway 80 miles an hour at about 2,000 RPMs. Couldn't ask for anything better. So as soon as I got home, I went to work on it. First, I had to fix the gas vapor smell in the garage. So a few modifications to the gas tank to allow a vapor trapper vent, and problem solved. So I filled the gas tank with water, as you can see there, did the modifications. Then I put a new dash in, bought a new dash, they come black, and I painted it with an upholstery paint, put 5 coats on it, turned out really well. Next I put new carpet in, and that turned out very good. Here it is with the new carpet and the new dash. Pretty excited about it. The seat belts were all froze up, gonna have those, so went to work and freed those up, put a little WD-40 to work there. Here's a picture of inside of the seat belt. Who knew? That's how they operate. Pretty slick. So after that was done, it was basically show ready. Took it out and did a couple of car washes on it, drove it around town some, enjoyed it for a little while, and then we took it out to a show here in Casa Grande. One of my neighbors, Lonnie, his old truck's called the Old Timer, 53 F100. We went out to a show. When I got back, I decided to do some more work on it. The clutch was no longer needed because it's now an automatic. When this truck came out, it was a 3 on the tree with an overdrive. Also, the bed needs to be either fixed or replaced. So I went to work and found a kit for a 67 F100 out there, and it comes, all the pieces come with it. You put it together like Legos and do some welding, and voila, you have a new bed. So I went to work, sold the bed, kept the trim, and here it is going away. And I ordered a kit that very next day, I think it was, and we drove up to one of my friends' home up in northern Arizona. On the way up there, I was on I-10. If anyone has been on I-10, you know that it's pretty busy and there's a pretty tight stretch through this area. But I came across an old square body. We traveled together for a little while. I ended up in Cave Creek, Arizona, and we received this bed kit, went to work on it. Laid the floor down on the back of the truck, opened the kit, laid the floor down, and began to go to work on it. So we just built the whole bed right there on the back of the truck. Had the drill holes for the spot welding, got all of that done and ready, and then we just put it together. We had a little help in the shop there. Old Bo, he kept track of us. I'm not sure if he was sleeping or awake there, but he was a good dog. Yeah, so by now we've got the bed together. I'm doing some grinding of the spot welds. Then I decided to take it home to Casa Grande. Well, didn't get very far when I smelled smoke and the tire was rubbing the inner fender. This is the culprit. The shackles did not have the bumper bushings like they should have had. So I found a shop there in Cape Creek and got that fixed. Would you look at this? Cape Creek, Arizona, a shop full of classics. Ol'Red felt right at home there. Got the bushings put in, the shackles of the springs in the rear. That got the bed off of the wheel. We also put some spacers in. So between those two, we got the bed off the wheel and finally got it home. Yeah, so here it is. One of my sisters gave me this magazine subscription, LMC Truck. I've used it a lot. Bought a few things from there and started hanging a few things on the wall as the parts came off. Had some help now and then. Old buddy Lonnie, he always comes around. He's the guy that has the blue F100. My wife even helped. She pulled a part off that day. Check that out. Now I'm ripping off the front of the motor, going to put on the new serpentine belt system, and ultimately ended up painting the engine because it looked pretty ugly. So just one thing after another. Yeah, that's kind of how this project has gone. But it's looking really good. We got it down, got all the rust out, and primed the engine, put some high temp paint on it from Eastwood. Next, we went to work and installed the serpentine belt system. One of the components on the serpentine belt system that I'm hoping is going to solve a problem. The power steering on this truck did not feel like power steering at all. So this kit came with a new power steering pump, and I hope that solves that problem. So with the new radiator support, I went to the body shop, we picked the paint, and they painted the first component. In order to mount this back on the truck, I've got to do some work to the frame. The hole is all rotted out there, as you can see. So I cut that out, welded a new piece of 3/16 steel back in, ground it down nice, and then drilled a hole back 1.5 inch hole like it should be. Well, next it was time for all the glass to come out, all the interior to come out, and time for the chassis, cab, and bed to go to paint. So this is the day we pulled it out of Ol'Red's garage and took it to the paint shop. At the paint shop, we pulled the cab off, the bed off, and rolled the chassis out the door. There it is. Now it's ready for dry ice blasting. So Alpine Dry Ice Blasting came to site and blasted the frame and the underside of the cab. It's a pretty cool process. It's not meant to take off paint. It's not meant to be as aggressive as sandblasting, but it's meant to clean and prepare for paint, which it does a fine job of doing. So really enjoyed that process. Here's a before, and here's an after of that same area of the frame. Sometimes if you have poor adhesion on the paint, it will take paint off, which is good. Here's a before of the spark plug area. Here's an after. Cleans it up really nice, gets it ready for paint. So next we painted the frame. Got it up on a lift, used rust encapsulator, painted it with a roller per the instructions. You can spray this paint, it's very thick. It works great with a roller. Very happy with how that turned out. So now we're back to Ol'Red's garage again. Gonna drop him off here and do some more mods to him. So having fixed the rear end with the bushings, I went to the front end and investigated why the front end was hunting the road quite a bit. Here's what I found. The DJM lowering kit requires a tie rod extender on the tie rods. Those tie rod extenders did not have cotter pins in them, so I drilled and installed cotter pins after tightening them up, and they are not going to go anywhere. While I was in there, I pulled the brake calipers, cleaned and painted them. So I like these wheels. They're made by Riddler. The center caps were not staying in the front wheels though, and so I investigated to see why that was happening. Bought some new center caps and found out that when tightening the lug nuts, it would push that cap out. So I went to work and got some spacers and put on those front wheels to bring that wheel out a bit and keep that center cap engaged. It's actually worked out pretty slick. I like it. Next, it was time to install the radiator, so I polished the aluminum radiator up using some Mother's polishing sauce that one of my good neighbors put me onto. Looks pretty nice. Also added a fan shroud. Now it's time to fill the radiator with coolant and fill the power steering pump reservoir with ATF. We're getting close, fellas. During one of my investigations, I learned that the shield around the starter wire didn't actually protect it very well. It had laid up against the header and melted that. So it's time to fix that problem and also mock this wiring up so that I can start this machine and check everything out before I put the cab and the bed back on it. So I went to work and did some wiring there. Wired up that MSD rev limiter, put a little switch on it. Yep, bought a fire extinguisher just in case. Rechecked the timing, made sure the engine was at top dead center, cylinder number 1. There is where it's been wired to cylinder number 1 on the distributor, so I double checked that. Yep, that goes to wire number 1. That goes to the cylinder number 1. That's great. Let's pop that distributor cap off of there and make sure that the number 1 wire is going to get the first fire. Take a peek under this and yep, there it is. That's great. So I got that set right. I'm just doing a double check here. I want this thing to start up pretty much the first time. So we'll tighten that back down and get ready to start it. So I left the distributor a little bit loose so that I could advance the timing if necessary upon the first start. I'll tighten it down later. So now it's time to test my wiring. We have spark and we have gas.
Fire in the hole.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, or dissent. You've been watching Ol'Red's Garage Channel. Good day.